Today we will be comparing two Nigerian leaders. Our positive leader will be Timi Joanna Tuberson. She is the founder of LifeBank. LifeBank is a successful enterprise that is using supply chain to allow Nigerians access to much-needed blood. How it works is there is an app that hospitals use that are in need of blood. So they will put in the type of blood they need, how quickly they need it, and where they will need it. And the app will filter this depending on how emergent it is and make sure they deliver it to the right person at the right time. And she kind of thought of this idea because she had a near-death experience due to postpartum hemorrhaging in the US. And she realized that had she been back home in Nigeria, she would have died. So she knew she needed to make a change in the world and to allow women a safe way to have kids. Our failing leader is Oluwatoyin Smith. She is the national coordinator of the National Blood Transfusion Service out of Nigeria. However, the only thing is, although this is the main place that Nigerians donate blood, it's currently not being successful in collecting enough blood, and this is her biggest issue right now. She moved in this position after being a chief medical officer at a hospital. She didn't really know much about the actual blood part of it, but she knew the medical background of it. There are many functional problems that the leaders are dealing with in Nigeria. A main thing that they need to look into is the economic problems of it being hard to gain access to blood in Nigeria. This has pretty much set the whole point of these organizations in place. The main issue is that there is a lack of donors. Not a lot of people know how donation works, or they're scared to give blood, and this has led to a severe lack of blood donations to give to people who are in need. And then also what they're dealing with is blood that is being donated is failing the World Health Organization testing and is not being allowed to be used. And this overall has led to many deaths across Nigeria. So these two organizations need to figure out how to fix this issue. The functional problems that come with this mainly relate to supply chain. They need to try to figure out how to operate an effective supply chain that will increase the access to blood to these locations. The hardest part about this is it's hard to get the goods to the consumers, and this could be because of lack of roads, a transportation system, or even there's many thefts going on when it comes to blood because it is in such high demand. And the two leaders really need to learn how to adapt and find solutions to these businesses' problems and focus on not only doing what they were told to do in the business, but adapting to get rid of these negativities and look for opportunities in the business. Next will be the intentional change theory. First up is Timi. Her ideal self was she wanted to make the goal to have blood easier access for pregnant women in Nigeria so they didn't have to face what she did. Based off of this, she used her health systems management major in college and the entrepreneurial and technological background that she had gained through her healthcare systems jobs and applied that to reach her ideal self. Through this, she really decided that her learning agenda was to build a company that used her technology background to bring the blood to women who needed it. She didn't want to just do what had been done in the past to gain blood. She wanted to find an innovative way and learn from the people around her. And this is kind of where she became big into her experimented practice, because she created LifeBank, the app that donors and hospitals could use that expedite the exchange of blood. No one in Nigeria had thought about using technology for this, so it worked out really well. And finally, Timi is known as a resident leader, which we will go to explain later on from her employees. Next is Miss Smith. Miss Smith's ideal self was to decrease the blood supply deficit in Nigeria. She kind of focused on the negative and not what the decreasing could do, but more that her goal was to decrease it. So this made her real self dependent on government and legislative actions instead of spearheading her own innovative programs. She kind of focused on what had been done in the past, and she didn't really bring any new ideas in BTS, and her learning agenda was very much just stick with what we know and hope that it works out for the best. Along with this, her employees say that she really didn't experiment or try new things to lower the deficit of blood. She kind of just did what was expected of her, nothing more, and didn't really try to exceed the expectations. To her, if the boxes were checked, that's really what mattered to her. And because of this, which we will once again explain later on, she is known as a definite leader and was not very favored in her position and still is not.
Like Taylor alluded to a little bit, the shared vision of the two leaders and organizations is to provide ample amount of clean, accessible blood to the citizens of Nigeria. Temi started LifeBank to initially help the women who are going through pregnancies, and Ms. Smith and the MBTS focus more on the blood supply of the country as a whole. But either way, both organizations have the same vision of helping Nigerian communities gain access to blood when needed. So how did they accomplish the vision and manage the hurdles in Nigeria? Well, let's start with Ms. Smith and the MBTS. Her strategy was to plead to the international corporations and faith-based organizations for funding and support. She does this because she believes the federal government is not allocating enough resources to the government organization to truly be successful. At a public appearance in 2017, she blamed the unwillingness of state-owned hospitals to partner with the MBTS. The MBTS also seems to be using the same ideas as they have done in the past, trying to focus on the benefits of donating blood as their way to motivate donors. Unfortunately, this hasn't been working in the past, and it isn't working now, as the NBTS is only receiving about 25% of the necessary blood supply each year, according to The Guardian. However, Temi was more proactive in her approach. She quit her well-paying job to work on LifeBank full-time after her own near-death experience. She used her college experience to create an application for medical personnel to order blood when needed, as well as for donors to find the newest blood bank and send reminders when they could donate again. As a result, LifeBank is connected to 40 blood banks and 300 hospitals in the area. They transport the blood from where it is donated to where it is needed, securing the supply chain in the process. They also only allow acceptance of blood from state-tested clinics, which is helping reduce the blood contamination problems. LifeBank's goal is to expand and have 1% of the Nigerian population become donors. Temi said that even just 1% will meet the basic demand for the country. In summary, Temi actively searched for solutions when those problems arose, and adapted her business processes when they did. She took responsibility when faced with difficulties instead of looking for somewhere else to place the blame. Because of her company, pregnancies in Nigeria are safer. On the other hand, Ms. Smith and the MBTS aren't actively looking for new ways to do things or adapt. While the funding issues may be legitimate, they seem focused on those issues instead of finding ways to make things better. The result is a major shortfall in the supply of blood. The positive emotional attractors that Temi displays is her positivity and her expression of LifeBank's goals and vision to everyone. They have a policy to only hire people who are passionate about their mission, and it shows to the outsiders like us that they genuinely care. On the other hand, Ms. Smith and MBTS display a few negative emotional attractors, like blaming others for their issues. They just seem to be more passive and are only doing what they are expected to be doing. It doesn't seem like this is their own ideal self, but the ideal self someone else is giving them.
Okay, let's talk about their leadership. No doubt, Temi is a resonant leader, which you can see from what she says, what she does, and how her team or even the whole community react. We know the heart of leadership is relationship building. We can see Temi has been building a good relationship with her employees. She has the ability to connect to subordinates and relate their lives to the mission of LifeBank. She believed in building relationships and telling her employees that they are the right person for the job. She shared the vision and created positive emotions around not only her team, but also the whole country. She created harmony by listening to everyone's ideas and giving them motivation. So that you can see people under her leadership are happy, passionate, powered, and act proactively. Compared with Tammy, Mrs. Smith is a dissonant leader. She believed in hierarchical leading and top-down decisions. Well, this doesn't necessarily mean hierarchical leading and top-down culture is bad. So the key thing, the key point is she didn't ask for ideas and opinions of other employees, even when they struggled to get blood donations. Even though she has health care background, the knowledge, she didn't work with the team as a whole to figure out an effective solution for collecting more donations, for solving the problem they are encountering. Instead, when problem appears, she blamed other things, created negative emotions. She focused only on objective with blood donation, but didn't view the emotional side of it. People, you can see people under her leadership are more stressed out and react passively. Under Tammy's resonant leadership, Left Bank, this social identity group acts proactively to work on solutions. The leader elevates her group. The leader becomes one of the team. She joins them, asks for her members' suggestions, makes decisions with them together, and leads them. Also, this group influences the leader positively. So you can see, you can identify this group as a team, as a whole. This is a successful social identity group with more PEA. While the MBTS group acts passively, the leader creates negative emotions around blame instead of positively seeking innovative solutions. The leader is just a leader. Management in this group is hierarchical and top-down. This is not a very passionate group. People reflect more stressed emotions. This social identity group has more NEA. Nigerian culture mostly follows a flexible time approach. Project staffs will change if the opportunity rises. They adapt. When connecting with scheduling culture, we can see Tammy went along with the Nigerian culture. This can be seen from the fact that when problem arose with the blood donation, she said what she was working on done and worked on fixing the problem at stake. Not only this, she can adapt to the real-life problems and find solutions that can specifically fit their situation. For example, to help people get the red blood at the right time and in the right condition, she adapts her solution, such as using a more innovative way, the app, the platform, to connect blood banks, hospitals, and patients. To solve the supply chain problem, they sought orders based on urgency, location, and price, and preserves blood in a cold chain system that keep it at 10 degrees. 3 dispatch riders move blood in boxes that are padlocked and can only be opened by the recipient using a kind of Bluetooth connection or key. While relatively, Mrs. Smith went against the Nigerian culture. She kind of stick to the traditional approach, focused only on the task at stake, getting blood donated, and not on other aspects such as what Tammy did. They were unable to adapt to new opportunities. On the other hand, this made them lose opportunities. Okay, by comparison, we can see Tammy and her team, Left Bank, are actively pursuing their goals through innovative approaches. The leader is a resident leader, sharing visions with the team, with the community, with the whole country. This social identity group is a powered, positive team with common mission. All these made them successful in their business. They work to change and actually have been changing things. By comparing the resident leader with a dissonant leader, we can see how different leaders can do things differently. And to be successful, what a good leadership should look like.